You become conscious as you unlearn all the wrong things. You have had two groups of teachers who have influenced your life. The first group of teachers who influenced you are your spirit family. You have another group of teachers who were waiting for you to influence you the moment you arrived on Earth. That would have been your birthday. Contrary to your earthly teachers and influencers, planning your life with your spirit family instilled in you a natural curiosity, so you stood a stronger chance of remembering who you were before you got here, remembering what you planned. It was only because of the distractions once you got here that you lost touch with your curiosity, so you could discover who you were before this life had a chance to dominate you. The other challenge is that many of you planned to get a lot done this time around. That's because of the leap in consciousness happening in your lifetime. Even though you had a limited amount of time to get this all done, you knew you could do it with the help of your spirit family. Are you ready for this leap in consciousness? The question is, can you become conscious enough to be who you are without having to remember it? What the spirit guides are suggesting here is that if you can become conscious, you wouldn't have to labor through the process of remembering. Remembering is a byproduct of being conscious. It's effortless. That's a little bit deep, but it's really, it sounds like it is, but really it's so simple when you actually experience it, you step into it, and you act on that, you'll see how simple it is. It goes back to the early time when you first came here from the other side into this world, okay? And you knew who you were. You knew things. You didn't doubt yourself. You were still connected, okay? So when you're conscious, and that little baby that first got here, that new person, is conscious because it doesn't question where it came from. It doesn't question who it is. It doesn't question what it knows. It doesn't have reasoning from this world, but it comes in knowing, okay? And it comes in with its gifts and talents from previous lifetimes. And that baby came here, that's you, that's all of us, came here intending to accomplish what we came here to do. We were sure of it. We knew we were going to do it. Then what happened?
What happens is, like the guide said, you had another group of teachers waiting to influence you the moment you arrived in this life.
And just getting hit with all, wham, getting hit with all that, it distracted you so much that, you lost your bearings, so to speak. And that's why the guides talked about the little bit I read on Linda's weekly guided insights tonight, is the little bit, that one thing that survived all that was your curiosity. It survived it. And that was the one hope, the one intention from before you got here. You and your guides planned this all together, that if your curiosity was strong enough, you could remember. You could be conscious, which is even better. Conscious is remembering. It just goes with the territory. And the connection when you are conscious, when you remember, the connection to your spirit guides and your spirit family and where you came from is a byproduct. You don't have to work at it. You don't have to go chase it or read about it, or it just happens. It's there. You're present. You're not missing it now. Now you're connecting, okay? Ray, do we have anybody that has questions?
Let's see who's here. No questions yet, but we have Kathy and Veronica.
Great, you guys.
And somebody named Jane Amaran. Remember her?
I do.
We haven't seen Jane in a long time.
In a while. And you guys, we want your questions about this. This is an exciting topic because this is so important as far as the fast track in getting there. It's not hard. You guys already know by working with with Ask the Universal channel that this is not hard. It just takes a focus. It takes letting yourself be the child, the wonder, the curiosity, and go that way. Don't think everything to death. Just write it in your journal. Write it in your journal. Write what's intriguing you. Write what's new for you. Write what's inspiring you, what came through, and you don't quite understand what it is. Write it in here, part 3 of my guided journey, the journal writing part. And you don't have to understand it the minute you write it down. But you won't understand it if you don't. You might understand a little piece of it, but when you write it down, you will understand it on a broader level, okay? This is what's been missing. This is what brings consciousness back. Great.
No questions, but I had a couple observations. I can't get off this. You had another group of teachers waiting for you as soon as you got here to start influencing you. I mean,
yeah.
What they do? They smacked you on the behind. They started sticking needles in you, giving you vaccines.
You mean here in this world?
Yeah.
Yes, they did, right?
As soon as you got here. And then that whole thing about, you said that's your birthday, the day you arrived?
Yeah.
That should be called your Earth Day.
Your Earth.
The day you arrived.
The day you got here. The day you got here, many days. I mean, we've done this many times, you guys. And that's another reason for this leap in consciousness, this awakening, this consciousness. It's not supposed. I do think that it's like the 100th monkey. Enough of us become conscious, and we walk in that, and we walk our talk. And people, by example, connect with that energy, and wham! It's like everybody starts to get it. What they were afraid of before, or what they doubted in themselves before, is off the table. They don't do that anymore.
Okay. And Mona and Kimberly Williams are with us too.
You guys. Kim, I want to say this to you, Kim.
Uh-oh.
On Ask the Universal channel, on the secret group, I left a response to your question. I didn't see where you replied to it, but man, was that a good question you had. I couldn't believe it. It inspired me so much when I heard what you had to say. So it's off track a little bit, but make sure you're sure that you look at what I talked about.
So Kimberly says, why am I having a hard time starting the journey, of the guided books? I think don't you mean the My Guided Journey?
Yeah, you're talking about My Guided Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why is she having such a hard time, Ray? Is that what she said?
Yeah, and getting back to what the guide said first, about tonight's topic, you become conscious when you unlearn all the wrong things. Why are we taught all the wrong things in the first place?
It's a stark difference between this world, the one we're in, and the one we came from. Okay, it's so different. And Kimberly, I just want you to know, and I want you to go look at what I wrote and what you need to take a look at. If walking through the journal, My Guided Journey, part 2, taking the journey, chapter 1 through 18, be sure to join us tomorrow night. Facebook, same place, same time. We've got something that we're going to announce a little bit later about this. And you need to come and you need to ask your questions there about this, okay? We want to see you there. It's going to be a good one, and it's going to take you into about this questioning thing, okay? And help you flesh that out. Your guides are going to speak to you about it, all right?
And she has, she's read through the books, but can we expand? And yes, she did get your message.
Oh, good.
And, okay. What are we going to do here?
So what was her question again?
The question was, why am I having a hard time starting the journey of My Guided Journey in the book?
Yeah. You're getting a lot done, Kimberly.
In a hurry, in a short period of time.
You are. You don't see it yet because you're in it. Okay, that's why. Okay, so let's let your guides talk to you about that question you have. But come tomorrow night because we're going to get into this with you. It's great.
First of all, Kimberly, it's hard to grasp that you were taught the wrong things on purpose. What's happening that you had to be reprogrammed once you got here? You already knew everything you needed to know before you got here in order to live the life you planned on living. Now, somebody throws this barricade in front of you, and it all starts to become fuzzy. This is the amnesia part of coming here. But when you are working through my guided journey, rather than just going from chapter to chapter, read or watch the video for that chapter before you dive in to the questions. These videos will help you understand what's going on in each chapter.
Have you been watching the videos? Go ahead and answer us, Kim. Okay. And do we have any other questions there, Ray?
Oh, she's going to be in tomorrow night. Yep, that's good.
That's, yes.
Those videos
Are critical.
yeah, they're all about what, 40 minutes, 45 to an hour?
Yeah, some are 30 minutes, 35, and some are an hour. But what it does, it gets you in the right mindset. You guys aren't used to, you're not used to living in this world and being connected, having this advantage, okay, where you pull them together. This is what my guided journey does. It pulls the two worlds together, the one we're in, the one we came from, so that we can make that connection, so we can bring that connection back. And we're not in this world. You know, I talk about in Linda's Weekly Guided Insights for tonight, I talk about the biggest vulnerability you can have in this lifetime is to be disconnected. It's scary. It frightens people. What it does is it makes this world, it's scary in this world when you feel that way. Okay.
Did you see what I wrote there?
What did you write?
Scary.
Yeah, it is scary. And I understand why you would be scared. I actually think you guys are amazing to have come this far. And most of the time didn't know you had this connection, that you weren't alone, that you were being guided, okay? I've always known it. So when I see what you guys have been through, oh my God, it's like unbelievable that you were able to get through this far, you know? It's like walking around without clothes on or something. You just don't have that guidance. You don't think you do. I mean, it's always there. It's waiting for you to be ready because you planned this whole thing together. So see how you have to unlearn some of these things you were taught. A lot of things, a lot of core things, a lot of beliefs that were imposed on you that shut you down.
Okay, Kimberly says, you're right. She feels like she has a magic weapon, you know, in using the book and writing, listening to her guides, and this right here, that's a magic weapon. And she feels like she's cheating with the help of her guides. And we were talking about that earlier
Just
today.
before we started.
Cheating.
You know, Kimberly, I have to assume that you read Guided or listened to Guided. Yeah. And throughout my life, people would get mad at me. They'd say, you know, you have all this energy, Linda, and, you know, you make it look so easy. And they said, and I told them, I said, well, you know, it kind of feels like I'm cheating because I have, you know, I'm connected. I have this guidance. I feel great about my life. I know what to do and when to get in and out, and I know things, okay? But they were always angry with me because I made it look so easy, is what they said.
I mean,
So,
you were 19, 20 years old, and you were running an architectural design firm, a home design business, a construction company where you build all your own designs, and raising a child.
okay, so I have to tell you this, that when you're connected and you're rolling along in one piece and you're on fire, I mean, when you're in one piece, you guys, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you can't figure out, and there's nothing that you can't have. I mean it. And other people around you, you won't brag about it. You don't have time. You're too busy doing it, okay? But they'll watch you and they'll just sit back and they'll try to figure out ways to make you trip up. Because they don't have this. They're living in just this world. They're disconnected. And they're mad about it. They're jealous, all right? And you're not even talking about it. You're too busy living your life, following your guidance, you know, having the thrill of your life, and that's how this feels when you follow your guidance. Once you have this connection, you can never work at something for money, just for money, ever again. Never.
The other side of it, what else was going on at the same time, about the time you're doing all these jobs, you know, you're working, you're raising a child, you're busy 24/7, and they look at you and they say, wow, you have all this energy and you make it look so easy. At the same time, these people were telling you, you just don't get it.
They did. Like, you know, you don't get it. Like, you're not suffering. You don't know what it feels like to feel like this. To feel sick all the time. My daughter was a big one for that one. You know, you just don't get it. You have it all. Really? I have it all? I had to work for everything I got. People didn't give me things, but it was my passion. You follow your passion. That's your guidance, you guys. When you love what you're doing, when it feels good, you're going the right way. When it doesn't feel good, you're just living in this world and going by what you were told to think, do, what to believe and everything. When you're doing that, it's life draining. It doesn't honor who you are. It doesn't let you celebrate yourself every single day of the year. It's restricted. It's confined. It's demanding. It imposes limits on you. You feel like, oh God, I don't know how I can do another day of this. I can't go back to that. I can't do that anymore. That's right. That's guidance letting you know you need to make a course correction. And they're moving you true north every single time. But you've got to take your journal. Take your journal. That would be part 3. And write in part 3 the guidance you got. What was that guidance? So you don't forget. You become conscious as you unlearn all the wrong things. Becoming conscious will clean up everything. This is how you do it. You have to start writing down what you're realizing. You got that little snippet, ooh, and that little piece, oh, and you write it in. And then the next time you get one, you write it in on the next page. And the next time you get one, you write it down again. And you keep it in chronological order and date it. And then these little boxes here, you describe what this guidance was when it came through. Make sure you do that on every single one of your entries, all right? And you guys, I'm telling you, even within just 1 month, if you keep this up and keep doing this every day, in just 1 month, you will be 90% more conscious than you are right now.
A lot of things start clearing up right away once you go back and look at it.
You just can't believe it. And when I said it's easy, you're going to look back at this and you're going to watch yourself follow up with what I'm talking about. You're going to look back and go, Linda was right. It's easy.
And it's self-realization.
I never thought it would be that easy. And I remember when I was really, really new from the other side, that I knew it was easy until everyone here convinced me otherwise, okay?
Yeah, you mentioned it's self-realization.
It is.
That's what the book says right here. That it's my guided journey of self-discovery and personal transformation.
Right.
That's the whole idea of writing it down, that you self-realize things. going back to that situation where you made everything look easy when you were 19, 20 years old.
By the way, I didn't make it look easy.
It was easy.
I didn't make it hard.
To them, that was like unbelievable. You didn't have to suffer. Like that's what they said. But we're all suffering. And the other quandary was you could not tell them anything. You kept your guidance to yourself because even if you told them how you were doing it, well, you didn't get it, Linda. Why would they take advice from somebody who didn't get it?
Well, here's the thing. I always talk to you guys about this in the Ask the Universal channel group. I mentioned for the ones who are really learning to get this, is you can't tell anybody anything and you can't give them advice that they didn't ask for. That's just the worst thing you could do. So when they would insult me, they weren't asking for advice. They were attacking me, okay, in the only way they could. And I just let them do it. I let them think what they thought. And I just go, well, you have your way of doing things, and I have my way of doing things. And, you don't like me for that reason. I don't know what that's about, but this is how I do things, And they'd say, well, you didn't go to college for this, and I'd go, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I never thought about all that. I was too busy doing it. I didn't have time to stop doing what I was doing and go to college. I mean, to me, that was an insecurity. I didn't need it. I was connected. I had a higher source of knowledge coming through all the time, right when I needed it. That's what's out there for you guys. That's what happens when you become conscious. You are then granted access to this information all the time, whenever you need it, exactly when you need it. It's a great feeling, you guys.
Okay, Lori joined us, Lori Phillips, and Kathy says,
great, you guys.
Kathy says, I'm so thankful to be living in the flow now. Life seems so much easier. That's very good. And
Kathy, you have this thing, Kathy.
Kimberly says, I'm so grateful for this group of people. I feel like I could talk with you about spiritual things that everyone else thinks I'm crazy.
Oh.
All right. And then Kimberly said, yeah, I posted on my Facebook page the consignment painting she just finished. She loved making that money.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And she does this from her heart, okay? You follow that bliss. What else do we have there?
Jane says she's stressed right now about the fact that her bosses are demanding billable work from her, from paying clients, but the clients aren't spending any money at this time. So billable is down. The higher ups are pressing her, but it feels like it's out of her hands, and she's struggling to go with the flow, and at the same time getting this feedback from management. I've been told my whole life that I need to work hard for my money. What do the guys want to tell me about my situation?
Okay, so this is about, we're going to go into the part where, for tonight's topic, where you learned the wrong things. Okay? And how that keeps running you, or you wouldn't still be there, Jane, and putting up with this. Okay? All right. And we love you, Jane. We all do. We all know who you are. Okay. Your spirit guides and angels are going to answer this, and here they go, Jane.
It's not that the clients aren't spending money or the bosses demanding that they do. It's about the disassociation of the business model. It's something you were taught long ago. What the bosses are saying is that you need to feed the clients more food when they're not hungry. It's force feeding the business. For you personally, Jane, you must go back and look at what were some of the things you were taught about business that were wrong.
Right. Right. Jane, I hope you have my guided journey, and I hope you take your guide's advice tonight. And in part 3, write down what they told you tonight. Write down what your dilemma is. Write down what they told you tonight, and let the beat go on. This is just the beginning of you getting clarity on this whole situation, and not just this particular job, but this type of treatment in general, so that you don't pull it back in on the next job.
Right. You don't take another job just like that one. You don't marry the same person you just got divorced from. You know, you don't go back to your ex.
Right.
There's a reason why you left.
Right. Jane, you know, the part of you that hasn't shifted yet, that hasn't become conscious about this whole thing yet, is the part of you that doesn't have another plan. You don't have another plan right now. If you had another plan, you'd walk away from this and just go, thanks for the lessons, I'm on my way. The only way you're going to find that plan is when you write down what's going on with you, like I suggested in part 3 of my guided journey. So you can then see it. You can see it out here. It's not in here anymore. It's not running your life. It's in here. And now you've taken one step into clarity. One. But if you start with one, and the next one shows up, and the next one shows up, your guides are watching you. They see that you're paying attention when you take this step.
Yeah, like you say, you do the first thing, and you're a little more connected.
Right.
And then then you see the next thing where you were taught the wrong thing, and you go back and you correct that.
And then that wrong thing, you get that book back open, part 3, and write that in there, what that was, okay? And
why it happened.
And what you're doing is you're piecing your life back together again. It's a daisy chain of, realizations, wake-up call. I knew that. I felt that. It just all starts to come together, and you become conscious. That's when you are capable of sitting back, not taking it personally. Yeah, you need a job. You need to pay your rent, whatever. So what? Okay, you do not let it scare you anymore. And you step out boldly into something that you really want to do, and then you will bring it to you. Whoever it is you're seeking out because you want to do that kind of work, something you really like and you feel good about, and it honors who you are, you will nail down that job. There'll be no reasons why it won't work at all, because you will be aligned with it, with your energy.
Yeah, and as you become more conscious, little by little, you become more connected and
brighter.
In general, as the connection becomes more deeper, and you're more connected, you've found all these things, or some of these things that you were taught that were wrong. You start to see these people like you work for who are disconnected, and you have less and less tolerance. The more you learn, the more connected you become, the less tolerance you have for disconnected people.
Yeah, you look at it out there, and you just quietly and impact. You feel sympathy for them, but you quietly see what the real problem is, like your guides described it tonight. They just got right to the point. There's the real problem. That's what they get right to the point. When you have this connection, you're not walking around going, oh my God, there's no way. You're connected. You got the power, okay, over this nonsense in this world. Okay.
There's no excuse for people to say, well, I can't quit my job because I need the money.
There is when you're not connected. And when you're not connected, you feel alone. You feel like you're adrift in this world. You feel like you don't have any support. Okay? Yes. When you're not connected. The whole point is you start documenting what's going on with you. And I mean it. It's going to happen faster. Like I said tonight when I read the opening message here, I said it's easy. It's gonna blow you away when you see how easy it is, and you get over how this world has dominated you. It's all easy, and it's fun. Oh, on top of easy, it's fun. Okay.
Yeah, your job should be fun. It
Everything
shouldn't be a job.
No.
You shouldn't think, the first thing you think of in the morning when you wake up is, oh my God, I got to go to work again another day.
Right.
And face those people to do that, what I was doing. I can't help but think about the last time you and I went to the airport. Our Uber driver, remember? She was in her mid-30s, late 30s, and she picks us up in a brand new $75,000 or $80,000 Infiniti SUV, and she had quit her job as some kind of corporate job in design or something like that, and decided to become an Uber driver and run her own time in her own life. And she was making $6,000 a month, $1,500 a week, driving people to the airport, meeting interesting people like ourselves.
Right. There's
no excuse for not making money doing what you love.
There is when you're disconnected.
Right.
When you're disconnected, Ray, it's scary. Yes, there is too an excuse for it. That's the only excuse you have, is that you feel like you're alone in this damn thing. Okay? So do the work. Just get the journal out and trust me, Jane. Start writing it down and show yourself what you're seeing. Okay? And you will all of a sudden, this thing in this life that convinced you otherwise will no longer have the power over you. It just will not. But you got to write it down.
Okay, here's a stumbling block.
Yeah.
Jane says, will do, that's true. That rhymes. Will do, that's true.
You could be a poet.
You could be writing poetry. Kimberly says, so with this journey, I won't have to go back into my childhood. There were a lot of bad things that happened in my childhood that I don't want to revisit.
Okay, perfect question. Yes, you will have to go back to your childhood, but only one time. Okay, I had to go back to mine once. I never thought I'd have to do it, Kimberly. I never thought I'd write a book about my life. What? I never thought that. One day, I felt the urge to sit down and start typing it out. And all of a sudden, I was writing the story of my life. And by chapter 9, I realized, wham, that was the book my guides told me I would write 20 years earlier in that dream, 18 years earlier. By the time it published, it was 20 years after they told me that. And this turned out to be the book. I didn't know what they meant, like what kind of book I would write, how would I go about it?
They said relationship. You're going to write a book about relationships.
And it's all about relationships, isn't it?
Well, we always thought it'd be about our relationship and what goes into a good relationship, and what does a bad relationship look like, and all those other things. But it was not that.
No, and I didn't think about it. I didn't try to outthink it. I didn't try to pounce on it before it was ready. I didn't do that. I just let it. One day, I sat down. I wrote the book. Okay, so.
But you couldn't have written the book without going back and revisiting all of that pain, all of that dysfunction. That's
why
it was different. Wait a minute, it was difficult to write.
I know.
And guided.
It was.
And then once you got that out there and in front of people liked it. They wanted to read about your pain. They wanted to read about the dysfunction.
Because that's where they got hung up.
Right. Now, 6 months after Guided comes out, you do the audiobook. And you have to relive it all over again, and this time read it about it.
Oh,
and
man.
That was even harder than writing it the first time.
It was just as hard. Yeah. So what am I asking from you, Kim, and all of you, when you use the journal? The companion journal to Guided, that's how this came about. I had so many people asking me, Linda, how do I make this connection to my guides? I know I can do it after listening to Guided. That's how this came about. And Kimberly, yeah, you got to go back there and you have to, revisit that one time. Right now what's happening is all that trauma is in here. Okay. Once you start taking the journey, in my guided journey, chapter 1 through, the first one is fear, chapter 1 through 18, once you start taking the journey and you watch the video first, watch the associated video that goes with each chapter. It's at the front of this book. It tells you where to get it, where to go find it. Because if you don't do that, you won't be able to write it. Because you'll be going about it from the mindset of the original trauma.
Right.
If you're writing it from the emotion that you feel, and you go, oh my God, I don't want to revisit that. Well, heck no. You want to remember it, but you want to look at it out here, like the observer, almost like it happened to someone else. And then write down the facts, write down what happened, not what your emotion turned it into and distorted it, and how it scared you and how it freaked you out. Okay, that won't help you. In other words, you can't help anybody by going into it with them. You can't help yourself going into that emotion and finding the answer, finding out what really happened there, flushing it out by going into it and being emotional in it. Okay, it's just going to produce the same awful feeling that you feel when you describe it to us or you talk it out loud.
Or when you think about it.
When you think, or when you just feel it.
Right, and you don't write it down and look at it out here in front of you as an observer, and look at it and understand why, what happened, why did that happen, how did that happen, how long did it take to become a part of my thinking and my belief system in my life.
Okay, and what it asks in the book, what it asks in every single chapter, it asks you to write it down, but watch that video first, because that will get you in the right mindset. You have to be in the right mindset to nail this thing and be done with it once and for all. And it asks you when and where did it happen. That way you're honest about it. When and where, that nails it down. And then once you have it written down and you go, oh, then you can ask yourself, how did that feel? Not what was the emotion, but how did that feel now that you can see it on paper? Not from here. If you don't write it down, it's the same cycle, the merry-go-round, the same stuff again. The cycle, the karmic ride. You'll never get the answer that way. When you have it on paper, then you write down how it made you feel, then what you realized. And then once you do all that, Kimberly, you've got the power to take some action.
Kimberly said, but it wasn't just the things that hurt her in the past didn't just happen one time. They happened a lot of times.
I know.
But she says she will go back and look at them. I see, I understand. And two things. Turn off the emotions. I got it. Well, you only have to turn it off after that last time you examined it.
Right. You're the first time you're going to go there, you're going to feel the emotion just flood over you because it's still in here, okay? But once you lay it down on paper after watching the video associated with each chapter, you're going to be halfway home, all right? You're going to be ready to do this, Kimberly.
And the fact
you're going to change so much once you see this for what it is, for what really happened. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see the truth about what happened in that moment, not the traumatized little girl that took the blow and took the blow and took the blow. No, you've suffered enough in that.
And the fact, Kimberly, that you said it just didn't happen one time. You know, it happened here, and then 4 weeks later or a month later or 6 months, it happened again and again. Hey, Linda's mom beat her every day as a baby.
And I came out of that family trauma, that childhood boot camp, unscathed. When I stepped out of it, it was my world. I mean, everything I did was just, it worked, really worked, okay? So this guidance that I followed, this guidance that I always received, this otherworldly knowledge I had, this higher learning, it all paid off once I got away from those people, you know?
Get away from them. Okay, Kimberly says she's getting more excited. She feels braver now.
You got it,
Kathy
Kimberly.
told her this will be very healing for her.
You're not alone in this. You've got all the ladies in Ask the Universal channel. You have us. You have all the people that watch these videos. We have a lot of people watching them, Kimberly, are all rooting for you.
So Kimberly had a question before. She wants to know how she can join the group, the ATUC. I think she's in the ATUC.
Yeah, you're in it. Yeah, it's a secret group, so you have to ask to join. If any of you want to get into the Ask the Universal channel group, you have to email Ray and I, at info@channeled readings. And it's right there in the description. You can, ask to join. And Ray will send you the instructions, all right?
Ray's the gatekeeper of the group.
He is. Okay, Ray.
Okay,
so
well, that was good.
This was great, you guys. And I really love how you guys are, we're there on Wednesdays to help you with this. Kimberly, show up tomorrow. All right.
I know we didn't have enough time to get some of my other observations, but I'm just going to read them. And if anybody has any questions about them, they can put it in the feed or send it to us.
Please.
Okay, so I think we covered why were we taught all the wrong things early. How were we taught all the wrong things? How long does it take those wrong things to dominate our life?
You mean when they first start?
Right. From the time they first start to that's all we're doing is operating on what we were taught that was wrong. Those wrong things that we were taught turned into belief systems that we turned into our decision-making process for the rest of our life.
We adopted all of that. And that's what you're going to flush out when you take the journey. And you guys, those people in this world, the teachers in this world, and influencers in this world that taught you those things, they weren't necessarily bad people, not in every case. They just did the same thing they were taught. It's kind of like mindless child rearing,
Yeah, and that's how we get stuck, stuck making the same decisions, the repetitious patterns in relationships and jobs, the repetitious outcomes of those relationships and jobs. And no wonder by the time people get to their 40s and 50s, they're just exhausted and worn out, burned out from their jobs.
What happens is, and I'll translate what Ray's saying, is for sure that something's wrong.
Right. That's when people start getting that urge, feeling that hole in their soul where they say, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah, it just becomes amplified, and it makes this world less in every way. I mean, it seems like everything you're doing in this world, it's not a fit. How can I get myself into all this when if I just let myself bring myself back, if I reconnect to this guidance? And really, you guys, that's not how it works. How it works is knowing who you really are. Who was that person who originally came here? This is how you find it, right here.
I think a lot of people, when they get to their, say, 50s, when they have this midlife crisis, they call it, because their relationship fell apart, their spouse died, their spouse left them for the secretary. They all of a sudden have to get a job or a different job.
It's scary.
Support themselves. Yeah, it's very scary. And they look back on their life, say from the mid-50s back to when they got out of high school, and they said, well, I did all the right things.
They did everything they were told to do in this world. Some of this will make you mad, okay? I will tell you that when you take the journey and you start fleshing this stuff out, there'll be times when you're just this, all right? You wasted all that time, right? You wasted all this time, doing it their way, and you're going to go, I shouldn't have done that. I know better than that. I didn't need to do that. I never believed in it, but I went that way because, they seemed to know what they were talking about. No, they didn't.
Some people even say things like, I wasted the best years of my life being married to you.
That would be one of his wives.
One of those wives.
What about his wife?
You wasted your life. Huh?
And so in the end, you guys, you'll go through all these feelings and you'll be angry with yourself, but then you'll rise up. Then you'll go, wow, I'm so glad I see this. Of course it makes me mad. But now that I see it, and I have the proof, I wrote it down. Thank God I got it out of me. It's on the pages. I can tell you that when I wrote this book, and it was finally out of me, I never thought I'd have to revisit that. But boy, when I did, it changed my whole life. That's why I know what I'm talking about. I've journaled since I was 7 years old to understand what was going on with me, because nobody in this world in the 50s could I talk to about it. Let me tell you, it would have been a big problem for me had I let anyone know about my secret world. All right, I wasn't going there. In fact, you guys know that when I wrote Guided, and it was published in 2014, I was 62 years old before that came out, and I told my story, and everyone learned about me. You know, how crazy is that? They thought they knew who I was.
You didn't tell anybody till you were 62?
Well, I told you a little bit, but
Well, you told me a little bit, but I found out a lot about you after you wrote that book.
I'm telling you, Ray, were you surprised?
I was shocked.
Okay, so before the spirit guides bring through their closing message for today's insight, I want to let you know about tomorrow. We've been talking about it. Wednesday, June 12th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Join me on my Facebook page, Linda Deir Author. And here's what we are going to be covering. It's not about what's going on in your life. It's about why. Using my guided journey, your spirit guides and I will help you uncover your elusive why.
So what is it? Is this going to be like, so what is it in your life that you're doing that you'd like to do differently or maybe not at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about, if you think about all the things you're doing, do you really like what you're doing? Why are you doing them? When's the last time you asked yourself that? Or have you ever asked yourself that? What is it that keeps you either trapped or keeps you on the right path while everybody else seems to be struggling, but you're on your game. You're in your bliss. You're having the time of your life. There's no excuses why you wouldn't live like that once you know why.
Yeah, I think it's kind of strange that whenever you meet somebody for the first time, like at a party or something, what do they always ask you? Well, what do you do?
That's what they do.
Does anybody ever ask you, why do you do what you do?
That's what they should ask.
Exactly.
Yeah, at least ask yourself. If they're not asking you those questions, they're caught up in all this, okay? Yeah. Okay, so try to join us tomorrow night. We'd love to have you guys. Okay, so next Tuesday, June 18th, join me right here on my Facebook page, Linda Deir Author. This will be a Q&A and commentary with me and my spirit guides at 6 p.m. Pacific time, so don't miss it. In Linda's weekly guided insights, my spirit guides will be talking about the cost of hesitating. The cost of hesitating has become a habit of doubting yourself. The cost of hesitating is not only causing you to miss your life, but a constant cycle of struggle and pain. Life is not supposed to be hard. When you learn to trust yourself and your guides, your decisions will become not only easier, but obvious. Remember, if your life is hard, you're going the wrong way. Making a decision isn't hard to make when you are connected. In fact, this is when life becomes fun. To those who are not connected, this will feel risky and even crazy. The most vulnerable feeling you will have in this life is to be disconnected. That's what we talked about tonight. So this thing about the cost of hesitating, anytime you feel that hesitation, let me bring this out. My guided journey, Kim, when you were hesitating to really get in there and unearth those old memories, let's say, that happened to you, the traumas that happened to you when you were a little girl, okay, that compounded and they kept happening and they kept happening. Once you identify what that is, this connection will be the byproduct of that. You don't even have to go looking for it. It will just be there once this clears up and it stops consuming you and blocking you from your guidance. And then you will no longer hesitate when you step out and you step forward. You won't always be going, well, you know, what's this? Well, what's that? You're still learning. You're still gathering yourself back up. You're still putting yourself back together again is what you're doing, all right? So some of this hesitation, anytime you feel it, it's because you don't know who you are. You don't trust who you are. And that's where the doubt kicks back in and takes over.
Very good explanation.
So this hesitation thing is it's a big red flag letting you know you got some cleanup to do. You got to get in there and find out why it's there, what caused it to be there, what happened to that child, because it wasn't your fault. You shouldn't claim it and own it as your own if it's not your fault. Okay?
Yeah, a lot of these things that you were taught, the wrong things, not your fault.
It's not your fault, and it shouldn't be ruining your life. So.
However, you were taught that if you didn't think like that, if you didn't act like that, it was your fault.
In this world.
In this world.
Oh, yeah, it's very chastising in this world. Very punishing, okay? And you know what? Your guides never treat you like that. Where you came from and where you go back to when you're released from this world, it's nothing like that. So why should you live by those standards here?
That's right.
It's a lie. Okay, so you guys can beat that. You guys can figure that out. But you have to go through the journey, and you got to get your life back. That's how you're gonna know for sure. Okay. Okay. So tonight, the guides are going to close the session with their closing message to you about you became conscious as you unlearned all the wrong things, and here they go.
Everyone, in order to live the life they planned, must reconnect to us. You must go back and examine the areas of your life that scare you the most. Some of these are not only frightening, but will break your heart. Until you can feel the pain, you can't heal that pain. The saddest thing is that this disconnection you are experiencing now cannot be allowed to become disappointment.
This disconnection that you are feeling now cannot become disappointment. That's the key in this. Okay, the disconnection that you feel now. So at this current time, the amount of disconnection you feel is where you will find the disappointment. That's where it resides. You're not ever disappointed in being connected because you're living your life fully. You're not missing anything. But when you're disconnected, you can't help but feel disappointed because something's missing, you guys, because you're not whole. You're not fully functioning. It's like you're walking through life and dragging a leg, okay? It's effort, it's work, it's hard, and it's not supposed to be like that at all. It's not supposed to be hard. You didn't come here to have a hard life. I guarantee you when you planned it with your guides from the other side before you came here, you didn't say, I think I'll have a hard life. You never did that. You didn't do that. You said, I think I will have these characters in my life, you know, that you've had, your family, my family, all right? And I'll have them because I want to learn as much as I can on the front end so I can enjoy the rest of my life and really live it like I planned to live it. But what happened is you got waylaid. You forgot where you came from. You had, the connection was severed, broken, disconnected, and you got scared. And you've been scared ever since. You've been stuck ever since. Well, that's just giving this world too much credit, too much of you. You don't owe the world that. You owe the world an authentic you, okay? That's what you owe the world. And you get that for yourself. You take this journey and you flush this out. You guys aren't going to believe it.
You're right. You can't allow this world to take up that much of your life
No.
when you came in thinking that it was going to be great.
Yeah, you came here for a great life, not for a dismal existence. Okay.
A quotidian existence.
Right, it's
That's a
right.
big- You know, I read Guided. I know that's true. Because in part 4 of Guided, where you meet me, that's where you walked into the happily ever after part.
I did, you guys. What a great guy I have here. When you got this thing, when you understand yourself, when you know who you are, and you don't doubt yourself anymore, you're going to have, if it ever creeps in, this is your lifeline. You write it in there. You tell on yourself so that you keep your life and your slate clean, and you never slip back into this, ooh, over here. You are one, you are whole, and you are powerful. Okay? That's what it's about. That's what Guided's about.
Well said.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody tomorrow night, or see some of you tomorrow night.
We want to see all of you tomorrow night.
We had a big crowd last Wednesday.
We did. And we want your questions. Bring those why questions with you about, and how did I word this?
Again, tell them what it is tomorrow night.
Okay, what is it, Ray?
It is the cost of hesitate. Notice how I did that? I hesitate a little bit there.
Oh,
Cost of
no, that's not it. It's not about what is going on in your life. It's about why.
Yep.
So it's like Jane. It's not about the job you have that you're unhappy with. It's about why are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about why these things happen to you, Kim, in your early life that happened repeatedly. That's the worst part of it. They were relentless and wouldn't stop doing it. What was wrong with them? Right? Okay, it's not what happened, it's why. What were you supposed to learn from it? What were you supposed to get out of it? What were you supposed to become from it? I don't mean, woo, scared and defeated in this world. I mean connected and powerful and know yourself better. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That's where we come from. Okay.
And that's where we go back to.
That's right, Ray. That's right.
The afterlife, which is really the before life.
Yeah,
When you look at it.
Yeah, it's true.
Right. Everybody's worried about where am I going to go in the afterlife? Am I going up there or am I going down there? You're going back to where you came from.
Yeah, you are. But you're coming back. When you go back, you're coming back, hopefully, a whole person. This whole person, okay? Not the one that got terrified in this life and missed another lifetime. That's not why you came here. And let it be hard. No, that's not why you came here. Okay?
Because if you go back like that, you'll get another chance to do it over again.
Yeah, and usually when you don't get it and you miss, what happens the next time you come in? The lesson becomes more obvious. Translation, harder.
Harder.
You don't need that. You learn it now.
Kind of like getting a karmic mulligan.
It's
For all
something
you
like
golfers
that.
out there. Okay.
Okay, you guys, see you tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow night.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.
And see some of you on Thursday on Ask the Universal Channel group. The students of Ask the Universal Channel are going to be performing for you.
There you go.
Don't miss it. These guys are hot. They are so good. We're so proud of them.
They've learned a lot.
They are great.
And they're teaching it now.
Yes, and if you're missing it, oh well.
It's free.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
true.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.